truth, and life. Here is the Brother Leon Show. You better recognize.
What's going on, listeners? This is your boy, Brother Leon, and you are tuning into another episode of the Brother Leon Show. So today, guys, we are going to go into relationships. Today, we are going to talk about online dating because I'm not going to lie, man, that was something, oh my God, when it came out, it was like revolutionary. And so the one thing that I want you guys to also understand right now is that online dating has turned into swipe culture, because the one thing that I want you guys to understand right now is that it is definitely prevalent for the times in which we live. So, you know, I'm not going to lie, man, I'm an old school old head when it comes to online dating, because I remember when AOL had a dating site. I'm serious. I'm telling you my age right now. And then I remember Black Singles. I remember Black People Meet. I remember Plenty of Fish. I remember Black Christian People Meet. And right now I'm starting to get emails, junk emails from Silver Singles. I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. For real, Silver Singles? So, you know, I know a lot of times we do a lot of religious commentary, but we're definitely going to go into this whole thing about relationships. Because the one thing that I want you guys to understand and know is that online dating is a tool. And you can use that tool for positive results. You can use that tool for negative results. But the one thing that I want you to know is this, is that people can put anything online. But the one thing that I want you guys to understand and know is that you have to ask the hard questions. And you also have to be transparent, and you also have to be authentic, because I do believe that online dating can work if you work it properly. And so today we're going to have a testimony from a couple who did the online dating thing, and they ended up getting married, and they're still married to today. So, I mean, you know, that's the one thing that I want you guys to understand and know, is that it can work. And there are people who are proponents saying that online dating is of the devil. And I'm like, man, come on, go ahead with that. Because you feel as though that, yeah, it's devils online. It's devils in church too. That's the God knows truth. So guys, we're going to have an exciting show. I want you to know this, is that everybody's story is different. Seriously, everybody's story is different. And so, you know, the cliche of, I just want a good man. You have to define what is good for you. You have to define, if you want a good woman, you have to make the definition of what is a good woman for you. Because what may be a good woman to somebody else may be a bad woman to somebody else. What may be a good man to somebody may be a bad man to somebody else. So the whole cliche and the phrase, I just want a good man or a good woman, you have to make that definition. You have to form that narrative yourself. And base it around how you were raised. And base it around your convictions and your principles and the things that you stand upon. Because if not, you're just going to get something that ain't going to work. And that's the God knows truth. So, hey, right now we are getting ready to call the Pegrams. Hey, what's going on, Brother Al?
Okay, there we go.
Okay, we good now.
Okay.
Okay, I got both of y'all now. Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, hey, look, I just want to start off with the question, who are the both of you?
I'm Alfonso Pegram.
And I'm Bequita Pegrams.
All right, so what's your background? Give us a little bit of history.
Well, I'm originally, you're my best friend. We've been friends for, over 25 years,
Yeah,
30
man.
years?
Yeah, over 30.
Raised on the east side, lived on Southbridge, graduate of Howard Career Center, class of 90. Was in the military for a few years, worked at Ferris School, and end up moved here. Well, moved to Atlanta. Been in Atlanta for a little bit. Then moved here to Houston, Texas, where I'm work for Metro, LOV operator.
Wow.
So that's what I do. I operate a train.
That's great. That's great. And Miss Pegram, what's your background?
Well, I am from Mississippi. I was a military brat until I was 14, so I traveled a little bit of everywhere and lived a little bit of everywhere. But I moved to Houston in 1999 after attending Jackson State University, the Jackson State University, and moved here, did some management and call centers, and then I decided I wanted to be my own boss and became a barber and was a barber for 17 years, had my own shop, and actually that's when I met Alfonso when I was a barber. And single parent, boy and girl, and was just loving life and living life. And same thing now, I'm in graduate school to get my doctorate in educational leadership at Purdue University. HBC love all the way around. And I'm finishing up my degree in May of 2022. But along that way, I am a life coach, and I'm also an adjunct professor here at a community college teaching history. So that's me. And then that's, and one more thing. I'm a mentor to African American women in college in a group that I created on Prairie View's campus called Onyx Mentoring, and it's actually in the process of going national. We are officially a nonprofit. So if you know of any African American females that are in school and need help, send them my way.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So let me ask you guys, how did you guys meet?
Wow.
Black Planet. Everybody remember Black Planet?
Yes, that was when Black Planet was on and popping, and I had a profile, and he had a profile, and our profiles met.
Wow. So let me ask you this.
I actually, the story goes is, I was visiting my sister in Killeen, Texas, and I got on Black Planet and looked up a few women that I had interest in, and I just basically wanted to. When I came down to see my sister, I basically, wanted to have dinner with a young lady somewhere, other than the Northeast area, somewhere, in the South. So when I came, I put it out there that I was just coming to, anyone wanted to have dinner in a movie, while I came to visit my sister. That's it. That's what I put out there.
Wow.
And I came across Bequita's profile, and I liked it, liked her picture and everything, and I sent her a message of what I just told you, and she didn't respond for 3 months. So.
Okay, but and I knew he was going to point that out because he never talked about the happy ending. He talked about the rough start. So what happened was this. Yes, everything he said was true and accurate. However, I was in the headspace of leaving Black Planet because I had some horror stories from dating on Black Planet. And so I wasn't that interested anymore on being on Black Planet. And my profile really was just there, and I would check it here and there. But his message, I saw it, but he neglected to say that he had a sister here and he was coming on a regular basis. He did say that he was coming for dinner and a movie if anybody was interested. I was not, because I'm like, how you want to come out here for a dinner and a movie? Honestly, I thought the message was that, let me get me a hookup while I'm in town. And I wasn't for that. Because he met me at a time in my life that I was really getting to know myself and knowing what I wanted and what I wanted to be in a relationship.
Okay.
And I didn't want to be your out of town hookup.
Yeah,
but you almost missed out on a blessing.
You're right, but I didn't. Because one day I came home, and I'll never forget it. I went to one of our lady ministry groups, and I came home, and I saw the message. He messaged me again, and I was like, okay, Lord, he's persistent is not anything. So let me see what he got to talk about. And I called him, and we literally talked for about 5 hours.
Wow.
And I was so sleepy because he worked at the time overnight. So we were talking overnight. And I said, hey, I'm about to go to bed. This has been great. I really don't want to hang up the phone. He said, no, I didn't want to message because that's what it was. We were messaging back and forth for 5 hours. Okay. And then he said, well, let me call you and before you go to bed. Then we talked another 5 hours, and we ended up just staying up overnight because he being persistent, I couldn't say no. So on December 27th of 2010, I met my husband. I talked to my husband, and we talked all night, and I knew right then, okay, this is a blessing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So you said you ran across some horror stories. So can you tell me about some of the sites that were around, when you guys first dated and what was some of it like?
Yes. I was actually only on Black Planet dating site, and
so was I. I was only on Black Planet.
And that's because, just like everybody else, I heard the horror stories about dating online and you don't know what you get online. And for me, dating online was convenient because I didn't really go a lot of places. Again, I told you I was a single mom and I was a barber. Anybody that has a barber or been to the barber shop, you know what your barber's life is like. You work all day, you work all night, you really don't go out. And then between that and my kids, I was at church because I was working on myself. Yeah. And I was working on making myself better before I could be better with anybody else. So that was my focus. So I didn't really have a lot of dating sites. So the thing about Black Planet that turned me off was this. You would meet these men that boast about, how good a man they were and wanted to take you out and I'm invested in this opportunity and I do this. So then when you meet them, a couple of things might go wrong. Their picture might not be right. They don't look like they said. They posted their senior high school picture and they look like they now getting ready for retirement. Or you met the person that thought, oh, I took you to dinner, so let's go to bed. I'm like, no, dude, that was Red Lobster. Are you serious?
Yeah.
So those two things. Oh, and don't forget the guy that thought that you were just going to send me a nude.
Yeah.
No, so for me as a woman, I figured and I started to think that dating online was not for me and where I was in life because it seemed more geared towards sex. Everybody you met, it seemed like that's on the man's side, that's what they wanted. Pictures, sex, they'd buy you a little dinner and they thought that was it.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my intention, Brother Lee. I honestly, wanted to meet someone I always thought of, and I tell other younger guys, I love my sisters in the Northeast, and from Delaware, Jersey, Maryland area. But once I went into the military, I met women from different places. So after I got out, I came home, and then I started to, after a lengthy relationship, I wanted to venture out and see what was a woman like in the South that was from, the Southern area, or what was a woman like from the Midwest. And, they always say all women are the same. Not exactly, because different upbringing, different areas has different upbringings in their beliefs and what they believe in and what they honor. So when I came across Bequita, I, being from Meridian, Mississippi, was how they, treated a man and what they really believed in, even though sometimes they didn't really, wanted to go as far as doing those actions, but that was embedded in them to do, regardless of whatever happened.
Yeah. So
that was my mind frame and my thinking. I just wanted to, I wasn't looking to get married. I wasn't.
Okay.
At that time. I was just looking to, like I said, I wasn't looking for sex. Now, like I said, she had horror stories, but I wasn't looking for sex. I was just looking for legitimately, going to dinner, catching a movie, and just learning, about that particular woman from this region.
Yeah. Yes.
And I did go to figure that out through our conversations. The positive about dating online is, and we were dating online and long distance. So we had to get to know each other. Yeah. We had to talk. We had to talk about our value systems. We had to talk about our goals. We had to talk about our fears, our accomplishments. We had to let all that out because you can't just sit on the phone and look at the phone. You got to talk.
Yeah. So,
I did ask her to buy a camera.
Did you ask me or did you tell me?
Well, I asked the first time, and then I tell you the second time because we're attractive to what we see. That's what attractive is.
Yeah.
For a man, every man has a particular style of woman, or long hair, short hair, light skin, dark skin, or whatever have you, short, tall, whatever.
Yeah.
So I wanted to really see. I asked her to buy a camera for a computer so I could see, live what I wanted to see.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because you guys were doing not only online but long distance. The conversations that you had, what was it like being transparent? Because sometimes it can be hard being transparent, because when you start talking about things and you start having those hard conversations, that vulnerability comes up. So what was that like?
I think for me, our age played a difference in that too. Mm-hmm. He met an older, mature, I know who I am, Bequita, and it allowed me to be transparent with him because I did want him to know me. Because one thing about us, our relationship moved very fast in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Because remember, I told you that we met on December 27th, 2010.
Yeah.
Well, January 13th, 2011 is when he asked me to marry him.
Okay.
So he like he said, he had no intention of getting married. And he said, hey, I can't even believe I'm about to ask you this, but will you marry me? I literally sat straight up in the bed. I said, are you serious? So he's like, yeah, I'm not moving to Texas for no girlfriend. And I was like, because early in the conversation tonight, I don't know if you heard him say, even if that person wasn't carrying out those values, as long as they had them in her, he would be okay. And I think what he meant by that is when I met him, I told him I was not going to be a wife to a boyfriend. Yeah. So if you want to get to know me, you can get to know me. And that was part of that transparency. And I don't mind getting to know you and, having fun, doing fun activities, but I'm not going to do wifely duties for a boyfriend, period.
Yeah. Okay. I totally get that. So let me ask you this, Alfonso. What made you, what was it? What was it about her character? What was it about, what was it that you saw that made you want to propose?
Well, just the idea of, and this is where, when you talk about online dating, I wasn't looking, like I said, for sex, because I had a car, I had an apartment, I had a job. So I wasn't looking to move in with a woman or use her car or nothing like that. But what attracted me about Bequita was, over a period of time, I was listening to what she was saying. Like she said, you had to pay attention. In order to stay on the phone for 6 hours at a time or a whole night, there's something that had to spark your interest.
Yeah.
There's conversations that get your attention. One, she's an avid sports lover. She loves football. She's a diehard Texans fan. So we was able that hit me straight off, because we was able to talk about football, and I was really impressed of her knowledge of the different positions, even stats. And even today, she runs her own that's how I got that year. I got into her fantasy football league. She's the commissioner of her own fantasy football league.
Wow.
So those were the biggest things that attracted me. Of course, every man looks, for a Christian man looks for a Christian woman. And her beauty attracted me. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, you got to be attracted to something, in order to get to the next level. The conversations that we had, I have a boy and a girl. She had a boy and a girl. So we talked about that. We talked about the states that we was from, how it's like to live in Delaware.
Yeah.
How it's like living. I know I come down, it's hot down there. I would never move down here. I mean, these are some of the things that we talked about. But it's just that old Southern, responsible. And I knew she was responsible because she took care of 2 kids and she did everything she can to hold a house as a single woman.
Yeah.
Wow. I
Wow.
think, too, the conversations we had were adult in nature as well, because we did talk about our goals and what we expected, especially once he proposed, we talked about what we expected to happen in our relationship going forward.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that we didn't want a short engagement. We knew we both wanted a year to be our engagement, but also included our planning.
Yeah.
So we talked about gender roles. We talked about finances. We talked about what role he would play in my son's life, because our youngest one he was the youngest out of all 4 of them. And so he was 11 when we got married. And so you cannot be in the same house with an 11-year-old and not be a father.
Yeah.
So we talked about what that looked like. We talked about how finances would look once we got married. We talked about a lot of things that I think maybe my 20-something-year-old version of me wouldn't have talked about.
Yeah, because I think the one thing that a lot of people, they fail to have the hard conversations about communication, sex, money, and kids, because those are some of the 4 issues that can break people up. So I applaud you guys for definitely having that conversation. So
especially gender roles.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of men and women, especially nowadays, I saw a post the other day that this guy said, if I pay the car, you pay the insurance. If I pay the house, you pay the utilities. And he just broke it all the way down. And we had that discussion going on. And I know everybody's marriage is different. Everybody's relationship is different. But we had to determine for us what that would look like.
Okay.
And that goes back to, when you say gender roles, I'm an old-fashioned type of guy.
Yeah.
I believe in my grandpa. Make sure my grandma was all right. As far as the bills and stuff, he was responsible for all the bills. It wasn't like half and half. He was responsible for all the bills. He just made sure, everything the kids was taken care of, and make sure the house was straight, and make sure he had a meal when he came home after a long day's work. Even bought his glass water. Now, I'm not saying, times have changed. It's 2020. At that time, it's 2012. I still had that old-fashioned way of thinking that I had to take care of the family. Whether of course, my wife worked, and of course, she continues to work today. She continues to do all the things. As a matter of fact, she still does that as well as still, I don't want to say womanly duties, because it comes down to a place where does the woman want to do it or she don't.
Okay.
And I think that's what it comes down to.
And I'm okay with you saying womanly duties, because I'm old-fashioned in the fact that I do believe that there should be gender roles.
Okay.
So a man that marries me has to believe that as well. I was coming down to Mississippi in the summer with my grandmother, and she told me, you take care of your man. You fix his plate. You bring him his water. Yes, my husband is more than capable. He lived by himself for a while. He knows how to take care of himself, but I get joy out of fixing my husband's dinner. I get joy out of fixing his plate and bringing him to it. So it's for him, but in a way, and as old-fashioned as it may sound, serving my husband makes me feel good. I like being his cheerleader. Wow. I like bringing him stuff, because if I make him happy, best believe, if he's happy, my husband is going to do things that surprise me. I'm laying here, and he know how to sat up all night writing paper. He'll give me a massage, but we haven't asked. The love is reciprocated because it's given.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
And I always say this, Lee. Yeah. When we was talking, I always had the thought pattern of a woman or people, man, even including myself, change 30, 60, 90, 120-day rule. Everything's going to be good in the beginning.
Yeah.
But after you get past 120 days, when they, both people start to feel comfortable. That's when they let their hair down. That's when they start saying things. You start picking up on things. After 120 days, you'll start to see where you at.
Yeah. So I guess you like what you saw and everything. So yeah.
9 years later.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because you from up north and she's from down south. Was there any like type of culture clash?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
I married a Yankee. And I'm between Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey.
Okay.
Just in the air, I see all racism. Where my husband from the north, I don't see that as much as we do in the south. We used to it being in our face, but we identify it really quickly. My husband gets along with everybody. I side-eye everybody. So we had to deal with that. But even like our upbringing, how we raise the kids is different. I say our love story is perfect for us. So like my husband said, we have problems, but we had to learn how to work through those problems and communicate in a way that was respectful and allowed the other person. And I take this from my husband. Allow the other person's space to be who they are.
Yeah.
For me, it was definitely the climate played a big part of that. It's hot down here. I'm not used to. They don't have the 4 seasons like we have. I think they just got 2. But as far as the culture and stuff like that, I only read things in the history books in the North when I actually came and visited the Alamo. When we took a trip down to Mississippi to where she's from, I felt uncomfortable because of what I've seen burning Mississippi and all the South, the Jim Crow laws and stuff that has happened. Mm-hmm. I told my wife, I said, I'm gonna get me a pickup truck and have a shotgun and a fishing rod in the back window, in the back of the truck, because that's what I've seen living in the North. That's what I thought they did, ride around in pickup trucks and with a shotgun and a fishing rod in the back of your window. Because that's what I've seen, on TV and the commercials and stuff that I've seen. Yeah. So yeah, it was a big difference for us culture. For the first, I really didn't feel comfortable in some of the areas down here in the South from being from the North.
Yeah, let me ask you this. What was it like? Because I know, man, the first time I saw the Confederate flag, I went to Florida. I was like, what the hell is this? I'm serious. And I was like, yo, do I need to watch my back down here? I mean, that's how I felt, from coming to Delaware. And then I went to Florida for a little bit. So let me ask you this. Did you run across any type of racism?
What was
it wasn't like racism towards him, but he experienced the mindset of people in the South.
Right.
And his mindset is different coming from the North.
Right.
So when you have conversations about race with somebody from the South, it's going to be quite different. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't ready for that because he's thinking that we all black, so we all kind of think the same.
Right.
But even being black in the South is very different being black in the North.
Oh man, please explain.
Being black in the South, you always on guard. That's why I said I'm always side-eyeing people like, okay, you tried it.
Okay.
Whereas the relationship with white people in the South is different because of the outward history of being racist. They didn't mind showing their Confederate flag. They didn't mind letting you know that you weren't welcome here. So you had to be able to deal with that. And it was in your face. Whereas, it's sort of like that saying, in the South, they don't like you, but in the North, you have to figure it out because they hide it.
Yeah, exactly.
In the South, he had to deal with that. It's in your face.
Yeah.
And I know with some of my coworkers, to me, our unions are strong in the North. And when you come down here, because this is a right to work state, that means they could fire you just because they want to fire you.
Yeah.
They don't have to have a reason to say this is why we let you go or whatever. They could just fire you. The unions, to me, is not as strong down here. So to me, it's like they, a lot of my coworkers was happy with the situations they was in, and like, okay, this company is doing this to y'all. Y'all ain't saying nothing. They was like, hey man, as long as my check is in there on Friday, I don't care what they do or what they say. And I'm not used to that. I've come from unions in the North where, they was like, yo, this ain't right. If it ain't enough toilet paper in the bathroom, we got a problem.
Yeah.
And the union would get on that. But down here, it was like, hey man, get over it. We just happy to be here, just happy to have a job. To me, that's what it was like.
No, and I think you're accurate. It's just that with blacks in the South, we choose our battles.
Yeah.
So it's like, because if you don't, you'll be fighting everybody and everything because it's all laid out. Like, here it is. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, do I fight for this and risk losing my job? Is that worth it? Well, this might be, this other incident may be more worth it. So I'm going to put my energy there and just keep my job.
Wow.
It's sad.
Yeah.
But you learn to choose your battles in the South because the laws in the South aren't really dedicated to us. Like you just said about the union. The union is strong in the North because they have the political backing. You fight those type of battles here, you don't have any backing.
Yeah.
So then you risk your livelihood for your family.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Al. You had to learn that system real fast, didn't you?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've learned I've been with my Metro here for 9 years, going on 10, and I've learned real quick exactly what she said. You got to fight your battles because at first, my first couple of years was rough with the company because I was like, hold on, man, blah, 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 and this and that. And then when I met with my superintendent to try to have things changed or looked at, those same people, my coworkers that was in the break room that we was talking about, I go through the door, but then when we start talking, I look back, they go. And then my superintendent was like, well, Mr. Pegrams, seems like you're the only one that got the problem because nobody else has come forward to say that this is the issue or this is where we have problems. And that's where I went. I learned real quick. Hey, like my wife said, they picked their battles, and that wasn't the one they was willing to fight. So here I'm coming. I'm a new kid from the North, and coming down here with all this hoorah, but we get a new union and all this and that. Well, I found out over a couple of years, man. Look, now I'm like almost I've kind of conformed into the system that's down here. Like the old guy told me when I first came down here, as long as your check is in there on Friday, that's all that matters.
Yeah. It always seems like, man, you got to have an old dude to school you on how stuff works. I had to say,
and that's what he did.
Yep. Yeah. So let me ask you this: going back to the online dating thing, and you were talking about having a camera. So let me ask you this: how important? Because I know some people, man, they won't even look at a profile if it ain't got a picture. Was that the case with both of you?
For me, it was. If you didn't have a picture, that's like you had something.
Okay.
So, yeah. Because when I saw Alfonso's picture, I liked his picture. I'm not going to lie. If he wasn't handsome, I probably would have not answered 4 months later. So he was handsome. He was very handsome, and I didn't mind. So it wasn't his physical look that kept me from responding. It was my past experience and wondering if he was going to be the same.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this, Alfonso, was it like the same with you? Like, girls may try to, slide something in your DM or in your inbox, but they ain't got no picture. You're like, nah, forget that.
Back then, I can't remember. It was, for me, but to answer your question, yeah, for me, the picture was very important, but I wanted to go beyond a picture. That's why I requested that she get a camera or a laptop so I could actually see her live because, like you said, man, I'm a man. I want to, what's attractive to me, where I want to see what how pretty she is or, looks is not, looks was important. It's not the only thing, but it was important. It was important.
Okay. So
I think people lie when they say looks don't matter. They lie.
Oh yeah.
And as a woman, I'm comfortable saying, yes, I understand looks that matter. And I think there's somebody for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, what's pretty to Alfonso may not be pretty to someone else.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty enough to him.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: was there any deal breakers? You was like, yo, if I hear this or if I see this, yo, this is just total deal breaker.
Yeah. For him, I know it was having kids.
Yeah, I didn't want to have no more kids. I had a boy and a girl.
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to, and I knew she had a boy and a girl, so I didn't want no more kids.
Okay.
You know, that was definitely a deal breaker.
For me, religion was a deal breaker. If he didn't have a spiritual, active relationship with God, and that meaning that he had to be at church every Sunday and on the choir and the deacon board, all that. But I wanted him to have a spiritual relationship, an independent spiritual relationship with God, where he prayed and read, and he did that. So had he not, that would have been a deal breaker. And as weird as this sounds, yes, my son was 11, and I was still on the fence if I wanted to have a child with Alfonso. But if I had met him and his children were younger than mine, I wouldn't have dated him.
Okay. I totally get that. So let me ask you this, because I know a lot of times what happens when people start dating, it's almost like the ghost of girlfriends and boyfriends past start popping up. So when you guys got together, was that the case? Was, you know, all of a sudden out the blue, you getting them calls like, hey, I was just thinking about you. What you doing?
Yes. Oh, my God. For both of us.
Yeah.
And my husband, I don't think we ever really talked about this in depth. My husband changed his phone number after we got married.
Okay.
To avoid it. I kept mine, but, yeah, they did start popping up. And it wasn't even so much is because I don't post a lot about our relationship on social media because I'm not for people's entertainment.
Yeah.
But, like you said, they just came up out the woodwork.
Yeah.
For me, it was, you know, why didn't I get a ring? Or, you know, why didn't you marry me? Or, you know, why you had to go all the way to the South or all the way to Texas to find a woman and all this and that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not good enough for you. Or we're not good enough for you here. You know, so I got those, you know, those type of questions or those kind of stares.
Man, I feel you on that one, because when I got engaged, when my ex found out I got engaged, man, she came to my job. I'm serious. Oh yeah. It was one of them type of moves like, come the fuck outside. I'm like, but see the crazy part is that I was home on workman's comp at the time, so I'm up here calling. I'm like, what are you doing at my job? But you know, I totally get, you know, what you're saying, Alfonso. I totally get that. And you know, and I ain't gonna lie, you know, wife I'm with right now, man, she says, yeah, you drove them girls crazy. I'm like, I ain't driving nobody crazy. I ain't driving nobody crazy.
I mess with Alfonso about it too. I just think I tell him I got the best version of him.
Yeah.
When I met him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to date young Alfonso because I'd have been on way to exhale.
Yeah, I can see that, and we both talk about that, and I wasn't and brother, you know me, with my son and daughter's mom, you know, they had the young Alfonso, you know, they had the young Al, so they went through a lot of things, and you know, the relationships that I was in for a long time, you know, they had the bag, you know, I was a good guy, I always. You know, and I think we talked about this. I mentioned it to you, and you know, a lot of women used to laugh. I used to say, "I may be a dog, but I'm a good dog."
No, and I can only laugh because I didn't have that dog.
Yeah. But see, you can't. But see, the one thing I appreciate the fact, Al, is that you saying that, you know, you came into a maturity, and that's what happens. Right. It's like, you know, you look at your present self, and then you look at yourself in the past. It's like, how come I couldn't have been like that back then? You ever ask yourself that?
The answer to your question, I wish I could Yes, because I wish that I could have dealt with a lot of things better. And I'm talking about moving on, you know, with my son's mom and her new husband. I wish I could have dealt with things better with that. And, you know, I just wasn't, like you said, I just wasn't mature at the time. And I wasn't thinking, you know, long term.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think the one thing, man, that I appreciate, it was some wisdom you gave me a while back when I was going through with my son's mother. You said, man, things started to turn around for me, man, when we both started to mature and realize that, you know, we can't keep arguing over the past. And so, man, that conversation that you had with me, man, it pivoted my whole relationship. So I want to say thank you for that, man. It pivoted my whole relationship with my son's mother. I started just coming from the aspect of, let's just talk about what's present right now, what we need to do for our son.
Right.
So, man, I just want to say thank you for that.
I appreciate that, Brother Lee. That's just one of the things that you gave me all versus all the stuff, the wisdom and nuggets that you don't drop on me. But even with that, at that time when I told you that, you know, me and my son's mom was just, you know, getting to that point. It was still fresh, you know, trying to, you know, without all the blaming, well, you did this and I did that. But like you said, we both matured and we said, look, neither one of us is going nowhere because she was committed and I was committed into raising our son. So neither one of us was going nowhere. So, and this is, they say until 18, but you know as well as I know, it goes beyond 18.
Oh, yeah, man.
You know, it goes beyond 18. And, you know, and I think my wife mentioned, I think I know that, you know, I'm having a 50th birthday party coming up. And I'm kind of happy that we're at the point where, you know, my son and my daughter's mothers, as well as their husbands, or said they will be coming.
Yeah.
And, you know, to get to that point is really big. Now, we know Jada and all that. You know, Jada and Will and all that. But it's just encouraging to see where we have come from, where we actually can be under the same roof and partake in the meal and have fun and fellowship.
Yeah, definitely, man. So that's definitely growth, man. Seriously, that's definitely a lot of growth because, you know, it's like you're putting away the past. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you start looking at the time. I'm like, why are we arguing over something that happened 20 years ago? You know what I mean?
Right.
So you know, I had to come to that conclusion. But I ain't going to lie. I know the Lord's been dealing with me. I had to bring some closure to some of the people that I know, you know, that I had bad relationships with. And I've done it because I wanted the questions to stop. You know, so that was just my personal thing. So, but I will say this. It seems like online dating gave you guys, you know, you closed a chapter of singleness, but it opened up a new book to your marriage. And I mean, you guys are making it work. So let me ask you this. How you know, because I know a lot of times people have a hard time explaining to other couples how they met. Was that the case? Because I know some people frown at online dating. When it was new, they was like, ooh.
Yes.
You know?
It was. Cause my dad asked us when I first introduced Alfonso. So again, we started talking in December. January, we got engaged. So we made a decision not to tell anybody except for our kids.
Yeah. And
so February, I went up there for the first time. Had a great time for Valentine's Day.
And let me say this, Lee. He's going to tell you this, right? But she came up here after her dad is a cop. So he came up here after he ran my name and everything.
Oh, really?
And he got all my information. You know,
yes, so, I was not going to go there.
So she felt a little comfortable because
my dad ran a full background. I said, look, Daddy, your daughter's going to Delaware. I'm dating this guy, and I like him. And I want to make sure he's all right. He said, well, what's his? Give me his info. So I gave him his info. He's like, well, I don't have no warrants and stuff. And he was like, he might be all right on paper. I said, okay. So, I mean, there's certain things as a woman and as a man that you should do when you're dating. Yeah. And even with my daughter, I'm okay with my daughter dating online, but I always tell her, hey, give me a picture of that license plate and send me your location. I mean, there's things that you have to do just to be careful and safety. And I think that sometimes is why people are scared to say that they did online. But when we met, my parents officially met Alfonso, they asked us how we met. And we met on Black Planet, you know, and he was like, why you doing that? I was like, well, that's where we met. So I think he was worried about how I would look to my parents. But for me, I try not to live my life in shame or regrets. And I feel like it's my life. They live their life, so they do what they want with their lives. So I did what I want. Yeah. And I know how we met, and I know how our relationship grew from that point, and I'm okay with it. Okay. And so much so, my mom called me after she met Alfonso and said, now, what's that site, baby? And my mom got a Black Planet page.
Wow. Oh, my God.
So I said that to say sometimes when you meet someone and they're real and authentic about their experience with whatever it is, sometimes that makes that situation better for the next. So I figured if I was honest about how we met and our experience with it, it would maybe shed a different perspective about what online dating is.
That's good. Let me ask you this. What about the church? Because I know the church, y'all don't need to be doing that. I'm serious. I used to hear that.
My pastor knew when we did premarital counseling, because we did all the things in the church way, because I wanted to be married in the church. So we had to do premarital counseling. And Reverend Harris knew. He didn't think anything of it. I think it's a self-reflection that we put on online dating. And I told Alfonso this. I said, online dating is going to be nasty and dirty if you make it nasty and dirty.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with the fact that, you know, online dating, it is what you make it to be. If you out here looking for sex or something like that, you're going to find that. Yeah. You know, even God made things that man perverted them. Yeah. You know, God made things, he made all things good, and man just perverts them to make it for whatever their purpose is. But like I said, I wasn't looking for sex. I was just looking for, you know, being the company of somebody while we went out to dinner, or you know, catch a movie, learning. They could show me around and we could talk and stuff like that. I wasn't even looking to get married, but that was what I was looking for. So it's what you mean. That, you know, I can understand it's probably harder for a woman. I get that, you know, because of the climate that we live in and stuff like that. But even now, you know, even men, I don't think a lot of men are talking about it, but I understand that a lot of men are getting set up by women, inviting them to other states and stuff. They get into the hotel or they get into the area. Next thing you know, guys jumping out the closet or they coming in there. You know, so you got to be careful as a man as well, because you're going out your element, right? You know, and so you have to be very careful for that. But it's what there's a lot of red flags. That's why I said 30, 60, 90, 120 days. The longer that you go, the more people start giving lax, and they start letting their hair down. They start talking more, and you just got to be listening. And you know, sometimes I learned over my time as I'm getting older, just listen sometimes. Just listen. People will tell on themselves. Mm-hmm. The longer they talk, just listen to what they're saying. They're going to tell us on themselves, and they might not even know it.
That's very true.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the conversations that we had actually made our physical face-to-face encounters better, because we went from having these great conversations, and then our first date in February, it was like I already knew him because we had discussed so much. Yeah. And then so in March, when he came down for my sister's wedding, everybody thought we had been together for so long because our personalities and how we interacted with each other was like we had been there. Yeah. So it helped grow our intimacy, our physical intimacy, our public display of affection. All of that developed because of the great conversation.
That's
and
great.
What I want to say to men, you would get more from a woman if you listen. You wouldn't have to ask. You wouldn't have to beg, because if you gave them that, then they will feel more open to give you what you want without you even asking.
Yeah.
And if you have to take notes, take notes. Get a paper. Sometimes I took notes because I knew I wasn't going to remember everything about Bequita that we talked about. So sometimes I had a pencil and a notepad. I would just take notes, on certain things so I wouldn't forget. And every time before the next conversation, it'd be like studying for a test. I would look over my notes and make sure, because I had to make sure this and make sure that stays fresh in my mind. Because like I said, if you have to take notes, take notes.
Oh my gosh, that is so sweet.
Wow.
Oh.
You know what? I'm serious. You know what I'm seeing for you guys right now? I'm seriously. I see you guys coupling other. I see you guys counseling other couples.
Oh my gosh, Brother Leon. Yeah. I told my husband that, and he is running away from it because we have such the testimony that we have. It wasn't easy, but we came out on the other side of our testimony stronger. Because we have blended family stuff.
And that's another episode after the because we went through after we moved down here. That's another episode, but we hold on. I mean, it was a lot of things because I'm from out of state, so we couldn't stack up. You understand what I'm saying? We couldn't move from another state, so we couldn't stack up. So we didn't have time to stack up to get to know one another. So it was rough for the first couple of years. But like I said, we had to mature in some areas, and then we had to be honest with ourselves. What our downfalls is with ourselves, and then we had to come and talk about it. Because one thing, Lee, me, I'll pack my stuff up and I'll roll.
And I called him the Nike man. He was all ready to just do it. We had the blessing of finding a great counselor. Yeah. And we went to a counselor, and I tell everybody that too, because people look at me like, you don't mind that? No, I don't mind admitting that I needed help and I sought help. But I should mind is saying I needed help and I didn't get it. So needing help and seeking help is one thing. Needing help and then avoiding it and then not acknowledging you need it, that's something you need to be ashamed of. Yeah. So we sought help. And we got counseling to learn how to communicate, learn how to decipher what words mean to each other. But I kept up with the counseling outside of that. And sometimes you got to work on yourself so you can be better for your mate.
Yeah, exactly. I'm serious because you gotta begin to start working on those issues with counseling. Because I think the one thing that a lot of people don't want to admit is that you come into marriage sometimes with baggage.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, people, you have to ask yourself, okay, are we going to unpack this together or some of these bags I got to unpack by myself? You know what I mean? But other than that, it's almost like one of those things that I learned. It's like, you got to ask yourself what you're willing to tolerate, because some people, their patience level it ain't there, And then some people they do have patience because they look at the progress. But I tell people all day long. I say, hey, look, don't think that both of you guys are going in here, with a clean slate. Because everybody got stuff in their family, and that's the one thing that a lot of people don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
So I'm serious. I see that thing strong. You guys are going to be definitely. You guys can couple. You guys can counsel couples. I see that. I'm serious. I really see.
I will also say, you can't tell everything to family.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that I was mad at Bequita with, or some things that she had done, I couldn't tell my friends and family because and we both had talked about this. It's because we could forgive each other and move on.
Yeah.
But your family and friends, they're not going to forget it. They're always going to remember, like, yeah, well, I remember she did this, and I remember she did that, and I learned that. And I think that when I did that, I think today that might have ruined, that might have had a little chip, in my wife and my sister's relationship to this day.
Yeah.
Because, my sister was looking at the point that, I'm her brother, she don't love her brother. You know what I mean? So I think that I mean, they came a long way, and the relationship is better than what it was. But I still, in the background of my mind, I still feel like, maybe my sister might be holding, a little, still holding on to it. I mean, she could not, she may not, but that's just my opinion.
And with that shows you, even though you're not supposed to really talk to family and friends and put them all in your business, you have to have someone to talk to, because that was me on the other side. It's like, okay, I'm trying to honor what my husband said, but I'm holding all this stuff in. I feel like I'm about to implode. Mm-hmm. So that's where my counselor came in, where I could say whatever I wanted to say to her and it stayed with her, but I got to get it off my chest. Yeah. Because to hold all that stuff in, my grandma I used to say, you hold that stuff in, you don't have an ulcer. You gotta let it out. And sometimes just being able to hear yourself say those things, you kind of talk to yourself. And you're like, okay, that sounded really bad. So some of that is me. So it's like you got to find somebody to talk to, but you got to watch who you talk to.
Yeah, exactly. I totally get you on that, because it's the one thing about friends and family is that they will always stay on your side and be on your side. And the crazy thing is that you guys make up and then they still mad.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I had to deal with that. So I feel you on that.
If you do have to confide in somebody, make sure they're married and value marriage. Mm-hmm. And I say that because even if they're married and they don't value marriage, they're not going to give you relationship advice that values marriage. They're going to give you bitter relationship advice, and that's not healthy.
Yeah.
So you need to confide in people that understand, and marriage is not going to be perfect. Marriage is not a straight arrow up. It's going to be like a roller coaster, but it's how you handle those ups and downs. And some people don't have a very good outlook on marriage, and you don't want that to become to poison your relationship.
Yeah, exactly. My thing is right now, I'm like, I don't want to hear from you unless you married, because if you single and you cheating and doing all that type of stuff, I'm like, nah, ain't nothing you can tell me right now. I'm like, no,
exactly.
I need something that's going to build me up, not something that's going to help tear down what I already got.
Exactly. Yes.
So let me ask you this. Al, what was it about? Because I know you were talking earlier about you wanted to see what other women were like, women from the South, women from the Northwest. What was it, man? Because all we know is Philly, New York, Jersey, Maryland. That's all we knew, being up Northeast and coming in contact with with Southern women. What was that like?
My wife told me the men were down here was different. Mm-hmm. And when we was talking, she was like, the men down here are different. They didn't want to do certain things, or they didn't want to do this and that. And, where I'm from, we always worked. We always took care of women, do what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
As we got older, you know what I mean? But it's the fact that it's, the cooking, the taking care of a man, my wife took care of me, mm-hmm. When I didn't even ask for it, when I wasn't looking for it, he did it.
Wow.
The catering and stuff like that. Like I said, we had our ups and downs sometimes, but even though the thing that impressed me the most was, even though she might have been mad at me, but she still cooked me dinner.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that really, really impressed me. She said, so like I said, she might still be mad at me.
Yeah.
But she still fixed me dinner and me and my plate and bring it to me.
Let me ask you this. What was it like when you cooked? Was it like, yo, what you doing in here? Was it like that? What you doing in my kitchen?
Man.
What are you doing
I like
in my kitchen?
I like to throw down too. Yeah, I like to. But we got a sign in the kitchen that said "Mom's Kitchen." Yeah, downstairs in the kitchen. My wife, because she has everything arranged a certain way. The refrigerator is arranged a certain way.
Yeah,
bowls are tucked away a certain way, and you gotta do this and you gotta do that. You don't like you cooking because you use everything in the kitchen and dirty it up and all this and that. And it just drove me crazy. But,
he didn't relax. He has his days and he said, okay, I'm going to cook today. And I'm like, okay. But it was, I think for him, because he was such an independent, self-do-it man, it was hard for him to let go of some of those things that I like to do for my husband. So, and I had to let go of some of those things that I want to do for my husband to allow him to still be the person he wants to be. Because, like, at first, we had an argument about laundry. And he stopped and he let me do his laundry. But then, after a while, I had to know that what type of husband my man is. So, I had to let go of the laundry and I let him do his own laundry.
That benefited you, too.
Yes, it did. But it's like, I found other things that I can do to cater to him, to show him I love him. Yeah. And that's really what it is. And I know there's a woman that's going to hear this and be like, cater to him. Yes, I cater to my husband as a form of love. That's me showing him, this is why I love you, and this is what I'm showing you I love you.
Yeah.
So
whether you mad or not.
Yeah, whether I'm mad or not.
Yeah.
Some stuff stop now. He might not get no full meal. He might get some hot dogs or something like that. But
well, Lisa,
I don't make sure he said.
Yeah, but Lisa, something. The one thing I can say is that I'm not gonna lie, Miss Pegram, there are some women that will fight you on some of the things that you said about catering to your husband.
I already know.
And I mean, they're like, couldn't be me, please. I ain't doing that.
And that's fine. But when I look at my hand and my rock's shining, when I look at my car and I push the start, I'm cool. Yeah. So that's why I said it's not going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, my husband catered to me like some men wouldn't cater to me.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm going to show him day in and day out, baby, I appreciate you. Because I know there's stuff that Alfonso do for me that another man is not going to do.
Yeah, that's great. I want to ask this biblical question that always starts trouble. How did you guys submit one to another? Because I ain't gonna lie, when you get to talking submission to a black woman, she be like, submission? Please.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
And then he can tell you if this is accurate or not. Okay. I thought I knew what submission was because I knew what the 3 P's for a man was: priest, provider, and protector.
Yeah.
So I came into marriage thinking, okay, I know what it is. But not until I fully got into my marriage that I realized submission meant me trusting God enough to lead my husband and understanding that my husband is one with God, so he's going to lead this family.
Yeah. So
we had some bumpy roads because I am a very independent woman, but I had to learn to let go and trust that my husband is making the best decision. However, I do give my opinion and I do share what I think about it. If he takes it, of course, great. But if he doesn't, then in my head, I'm like, nah, you know that ain't going to work. But I just pray over it. I pray over it, and I have to stand and let him make the decision. Me recently took a trip on an airline, and I've flown before Alfonso. I used to fly places all the time by myself just to get away. But it's different with flying with my husband, who is very alpha male, very much alpha male. I had to sit back and submit and let him be the man that he is. And he is an alpha man. He is the head of this household. And I know when I push, that takes him out of his A game. So I don't push. I learn not to push. And I just go with it.
That's good. Y'all work as a team. That's real good.
Yeah, like my wife said, it wasn't. It was very hard in the beginning because my wife was the type of woman that, I want this and this and this. I want you to open the door. I want you to do this, and I want you to, do this and be the priest, provider, and all this and all that. But when it comes to time to make decisions, family decisions, important decisions, you want to have your opinion. I mean, not your opinion, but you want to have your way. Yeah. And I always tell my wife, listen, I'll listen to you. I feel like, I'll listen to you. If there's a decision need to be made, I'm gonna listen to you.
Yeah.
And listen to your opinion and hear you that. And God forbid, I am gonna listen to you. But at the end of the day, I have to make a decision, and I have to make a decision. It might not be what you think it ought to be or what your opinion is. Yeah. It might go against what you saying. And I feel like, in the Adam and Eve, I always go back to this Adam and Eve. I tell my wife, I said, you need to talk to Adam, you need to talk to Eve when you get to heaven, because she's the one that caused all this. That's my thing. I know that's a fire starter. But I also blame Adam too. Because if Adam would have, I'm gonna listen to you, Eve, but at the end of all conversation and at the end of this, we're not gonna do this.
Okay.
Where will we? What would the outcome be at that time if he would have said, "Yeah, we're not gonna do this," But he just went along with what Eve was saying.
Yeah.
And that's what. Like I tell my wife sometimes, if when it comes to little minor things that go around the house, we can make decisions or whatever. But sometimes at the end, when it comes to a major decision, you have to trust me enough that, I'm going to make the right decision.
Yeah.
Whether it might be contrary to what you're saying.
Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head, trust, because your wife says she trusts the God in you. And everything. So, that's,
because when you say I do,
yeah.
Because when you say I do, Lee, you're telling me that you agree, you putting your hand in my hand, and you're trusting me to make the right decision. But also it's tough as a man, because you have to make sure because it's a life and death situation, you have to make sure that you're doing what you need to do for this family.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's a whole nother topic for the man and gender's responsibility to make sure he's doing. Because I get what women are saying today sometimes, and they're right. A man has to be in this place for him doing what he's supposed to do for a woman to trust. And I had to earn my wife's trust, over the years that, okay, I'm not going to take my money and, I'm gone for the weekend, I'll get paid Friday. I don't see you till Monday morning. Monday after work, so I get it. A man has to be in a place for the woman to trust and do what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly, man. Hey, and you proved yourself. You definitely proved yourself. So, man, I
used to tell my wife. I used to tell my wife all the time when we ride in the car. She's like, "Oh, you doing this? You going this?" I said, "Baby, first of all, I got CDL. I've been driving for over 30 years. 30 years of driving experience. I'm not going to let nothing happen to me. So why would you think I'll let something happen to you?"
Yeah.
That's just it.
Yeah. That's good. So, Ms. Pegram, how did you learn to embrace that trust?
My relationship with God. And I'm going to be honest, nobody told me that. It was in prayer time. My own individual relationship with God revealed that. And I was praying one day because it's like, okay, God, obviously I don't know what submission is. I'm going to need your help because this ain't working. And I was sitting there and just having a conversation with Jesus. And he showed me, he's like, "Do you trust me?" And I was like, "Yes, I trust you." And he's like, "You follow me?" And I'm like, "Yes, I follow you." And then he said, "Well, then you have to trust the man that I sent for you."
Wow.
And that was it.
Wow, that's powerful.
If I trust that my God sent my husband to find me, then I have to trust that God sent me the right husband. Because I didn't pick out for this. I'll tell anybody, and I tell him every day, our marriage is anointed. Our family is anointed. You're not going to tell me, how more perfect do you get than having 2 girls and 2 boys? The girl's the same age. The middle boy is 27. The youngest boy now is about to turn 21. The military, how we grew up, all those things, we both the oldest kids, just little things when you look at it, like, dog, this man was really meant for me. Thank God I didn't meet him when he was young because I probably would have killed him. But he is meant for me.
Yeah.
And if I really trust God and saying that my husband found me, I have to trust the God in him. And that is when I was able to let go.
Wow, that's powerful. That is definitely powerful. I just want to say this. Thank you for saying yes to God. I want to say thank you for being a blessing to my brother. Brother, I just want to say thank you for being a blessing, to your wife, man, because you guys are an example. And I just want to say thank you for being on this platform. Miss Pegram, you are a life coach. So tell us about your life coaching.
Life coaching comes from my desire to help educators. I'm an educator at heart, and I love technology. And I'm an advocate for self-education. I'm a big self-learner, always learning. I'll always be a lifelong learner. But I wanted to share that with new and experienced educators. So as a life coach, that's what I do. I help new and experienced educators learn about ways and strategies to keep themselves competitive in the education profession. So whether that be showing them a new ed tech tool that's out there, but building them up to be the product that they need for the next opportunity. Today was an example of that. I did a presentation on sharing and using digital portfolios and didn't know that in the audience was a manager over the department at the college that I work at. She emailed me after the presentation and she told me how much she liked it. It was informative and offered me to sign up for another position in her department. I would have never got that opportunity if I had not prepared, if I wasn't sharing something that I was passionate about, and if I wasn't giving myself, to others to help them. So in that, I got another opportunity created. So I want to show educators how to create opportunities for themselves, but also build themselves up to be ready for that opportunity when it comes.
Wow, that's great because, right now with the whole online thing, you got to do online because of COVID, and now COVID is starting to get stronger again. So, it's come down to anything that's brick and mortar it's like retro now. It's like, man, please, ain't nobody walking in buildings no more. You got to be able to do this thing online.
Right.
So
it is. And that's what I'm trying to help some of especially our experienced educators that were here. We're in traditional schools, cool. Yeah. Now they got to learn a whole different way of teaching. Yeah. And our new teachers that you may have started learning one form of education, but now towards the end of your program, it got switched to just online. You don't know what to do that, but also learning how to do classroom management, learning how to promote yourself and not get stuck just in one type of area of education and not being able to use all your gifts. I want to help them be able to build themselves up to be able to use all their gifts.
Wow, that's great. That's great. So let me ask you this. So what's your approach to coaching and teaching? What's your hands-on approach?
It's meeting where the teacher is. I'm not a fixer. I'm not a therapist. I am a builder. So if you want to build up yourself and build your portfolio up, I am your woman. I will help you. We don't delve into how we got here. We delve into, let's move forward.
Okay. That's
so
great.
My approach is getting you to where you want to be.
Okay. So let me ask you this. How can people get a hold of you if they, want to sign up for some of your coaching classes and even learn how to, have their teaching skills built up, like you say?
Well, they can go to Dope Coaching, and that's DOPE coaching.com. And the DOPE stands for determined, optimistic, productive, and empowered. And that's exactly what we do when we go through these coaching sessions, whether it be a brainstorm session when you're trying to figure out what it is, where you want to go, or a blueprint session where we actually lay out the plan of how to get you where you want to go. Or if it's a plan where you say, okay, I want you to come and observe my presentation and give me some feedback on some ways that I can improve. All of those things are services that I provide. And if they go to dopecoaching.com, they can sign up for a session there. Or if they reach out to me on social media, on Twitter, you can find me at Bequita Pegrams. And on Facebook, you can find me at Bequita Pegram as well. And I would love to help anyone be able to get where they're trying to go.
That's great. Tell us about your mentoring, because you were saying that you mentor college-age girls.
Yes, out of my dissertation, as I told you, I'm working on my PhD, and my dissertation is on how mentoring can help African American females in college and reduce that stress that you feel during those 4 years, and especially as high achievers. High achievers are the most underlooked population because they seem to have it all together. But most people don't know the stress that they incur behind closed doors, trying to be perfect and trying to make sure they take advantage of every opportunity. So when these girls that have a social support at home are able to accomplish all this great stuff in high school, honor society, scholarships out of everywhere, but then when they move away, they don't have anything. They don't have anybody. So who do they rely on? Mom's not there.
Yeah.
So that's where Onyx mentoring comes in. In Onyx mentoring, we have mentors that are in graduate school or they're already professionals in different fields that they can come in and assist these African American women in learning perseverance, learning innovation, helping them with faith. We deal with community service. We deal with social justice, because nowadays you can't go anywhere without acknowledging social justice. And we want to teach these girls how to move within that platform and create their own movement.
Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you this. And I know this is not part of the questions. What is your perception? How do you feel that, Kamala Harris is helping our Black girls right now?
She's a visual mentor, because mentorship is all about showing someone what they can be. And for African American women, we fight so many stereotypes daily. Oh, she's ghetto. Oh, she's ratchet. Oh, she's angry. You can't do that because she's not going to be able to fit in because she don't know how to talk.
Yeah.
It's so many different stereotypes we face, not only from the world, but unfortunately from our Black men. Yeah. We feel less than in a lot of ways. Oh, she's not good enough to date an NBA star. You got to be a white woman. Oh, she's not good enough to come and speak to us because her hair isn't professional. She's wearing an afro. So we get torn down so much. To be able to see a Black woman take one of the highest positions that a person, not even a woman, that a person can take, that's empowering. That's letting other Black women know, oh, you can do that. Yeah. You're ready. Yes. You just got to be prepared for it.
Yes, yes. I love that saying, Black girl magic. I so love that saying.
Yeah. And even in that, you got people tearing that down. Yeah. But and that's why I love the word empower.
Yeah.
Because if you are empowered to do anything, no one can come and tear it down.
Yeah.
Like tonight, you are empowered to facilitate and lead this conversation. You knew you had the skills. You knew you had the questions. And that comes from us inside. And a lot of us have to be built up inside. Because we're not there. And that's what Onyx mentoring is about, building up these women inside so that they can face anything in the world. And Onyx, most people don't know what it means, but it means taking a negative and making it into something strong and beautiful.
Wow, I like that. That's definitely a good saying. That's definitely a good definition. So, hey, I just want to say I appreciate you guys coming on the platform. I know it was a little last minute, but I just want to say thank you, because you guys have opened up my eyes, and we definitely have to do another show on blended families. So can you guys, can both of you give us some words of wisdom and encouragement?
I would like to say, hold on to your faith. Over the last few months, couple of years, we've indulged in a lot of different things of, race and culture and different things like that. But I haven't heard anyone say, well, let's take this time. Let's hear from God. Let's see what God is talking about.
Yeah.
Let's see what direction we need to be going in. Do we need to hold a revival? Do we need to all the ministers get together and pray? What do we all the women get together and pray? So much is and I agree. So much is on race and injustice, and that's important. But I think now is the time that we need to hold on to our faith and seek God like we've never seen God before.
Yeah.
Amen. And I would say, just off of that, love. Just simple love. Love doesn't have motives. Love doesn't have an agenda. Love is just pure love. And love can come in any form of just saying a simple hello by somebody you pass, or calling that person that you was beefing with, and just love.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for that. Just in what you guys are saying and how you say it, I see how you complement each other. I see it. I'm serious. So,
thank you.
I just want to say, hey, I so appreciate you guys coming on here, and I just want to tell both of you, thank you, and I appreciate you both, because this whole thing about online dating, I believe that people, they need to see the success in it. Because like you said, it's a tool. It could go either way. You can use it for good, you can use it for success, or you can use it for failure. And you guys have used it for success, and you took it from one stage to another stage. And I just want to say thank you.
And it's even easier now, Brother Lee. We forgot to mention that. You got FaceTime now.
Yeah.
We didn't have those, at that time. And now it's, man, all four of us could get on FaceTime, and we could see everybody and interact, better than it was back then.
Yeah.
Like what you talked about in this, right, is what you put into it.
Yeah.
What you get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all put in the work. Y'all had those hard conversations, and, you guys were transparent and very honest.
I thank you for this, because I'm sitting over here with Google eyes at my husband, because he said some things that I didn't know. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, you guys have a blessed one. And hey, when, I'm looking forward to uploading this one. I'm serious. It definitely, this one might be tonight. So what I'll take and do is, once it's up, I'll give you guys a call, give you a text and everything like that. But I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go follow you too, so I can hear it again.
All right. You guys have a blessed evening.
All right, you too. Love you, man.
Love you too. All right.
Peace.
Bye. Peace. Guys, that was the Pegrams. Oh my God. I'm serious. As I was listening to them talk, the Lord began to show me things. He began to show me that this couple could definitely help other couples with counseling. So, hey, Al, Bequita, I'm telling you, you guys, you have the potential to really take and help couples navigate, through communication gaps, through the whole blended family thing. So, hey, I just want to say thank you. And guys, this is what we were talking about with the whole thing with relationships, because, hey, we're going to delve into it all. And that's the God knows truth, because in order for you to have success in the relationships, you have to see it all. Seriously, you have to see it all. You have to begin to have those conversations. You have to begin to get to a place where you are transparent, where you are authentic, and you can be vulnerable around one another. And that's what we saw tonight. I'm serious. We saw a couple who complements each other, and they made it work through online and long distance. So with that being said, guys, we are out.
Walk in the truth that makes you free every day. Follow Brother Leon on all social media outlets.